I want to see an America where when young black men walk down the street, they will not be harassed by police officers, they will not be killed, they will not be shot. It is not acceptable to me, and I know to you, that an African-American baby, a male baby born today, if we do not change things, stands a 1 in 4 chance of being in prison during his life. In America today, we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. That's right. And one of the reasons, aside from a broken criminal justice system, one of the reasons that we have so many people in jail is that we have 5.5 million kids hanging out on street corners with no jobs and no education. And it seems to me to make a lot more sense to invest in education and jobs for our kids rather than in jail and incarceration. I want our country to have the best educated people, more people going to college than any other country, not more people in jail than any other country.
Oh, you said that you've been fighting for civil rights. You were there in the March to Washington. Can you point to any legislation in the past 10 years that you've supported that have benefited the African-American community and communities of color in this country?
Sure. Many.
Can you name a couple?
Well, yeah. We built in the Affordable Care Act, which is providing health insurance to many millions of Americans. We got a provision in there, a $12 billion provision, which expanded community health centers all over America, hundreds of new community health centers, most of them, or many of them, in low-income and minority communities. That means that millions of people who otherwise would not have been able to access health care are now getting health care, dental care, mental health counseling, and low-cost prescription drugs. That's pretty good.
The truth is that for many, many decades, there have been situations where police officers have treated prisoners terribly and in some cases absolutely unjustly killed them. All right, what do we have to do? We have to do a number of things. If a police officer does something wrong, and I think we saw that tape in South Carolina, right? And that police officer was indicted. Police officers, like anybody else, have got to be held accountable for their actions. Yes. If they break the law, they have got to be held accountable. The second issue, I am very concerned when you see the TV in Ferguson and elsewhere, where these police departments look like they are part of an army, an invading army.
That over the last year, from April 2014 to March of 2015, the average real unemployment rate for black high school graduates was 51.3%. This is an issue that cannot be ignored. An entire generation of young people who are trying to get their lives together, trying to earn some money, trying to become independent, are unable to find work. And this is an issue that must be dealt with. Even young Americans with a college degree are finding it increasingly difficult to get a job. The real unemployment rate for young black college graduates between the ages of 21 and 24 was 23%. The figure for Hispanics was 22.4%, and the figure for whites was 12.9%. Last week, I introduced legislation with Congressman John Conyers and Senator Debbie Stabenow to provide $5.5 billion to immediately begin funding states and localities throughout this country to employ 1 million young people between the ages of 16 and 24 and provide job training to hundreds of thousands of young Americans. I have introduced legislation that would put $1 trillion into our roads and bridges, which would create up to 13 million jobs.
What a political revolution means is that ordinary people, working people, low-income people, understand the significance of politics and government for their lives.